Recording in progress. Okay. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Would you join me with the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilman Rao,
Present.
Councilman Hunter, Mayor Rao, Councilman LaVerie, Councilman Fitzsimons.
Here.
Mr. Fitzsimons will be virtually here tonight. He's on COVID quarantine. He's got
Let me
kids in the
Let me tell you,
family,
it's
I guess. All right. We're going to, on C, item 4C, we're going to put that on delay to the next meeting, table that. What's that? Public Works Managers. Okay, deal. We're working on that. We've got some wording we got to change on some of on the deal, so it isn't quite done yet. Should have had it done tonight, but we're that much.
You do want that on the agenda for next
Yes.
meeting?
Yep.
Item C.
Item C.
Okay. While you're on that, we'd like the people to know that this has been postponed on the last two meetings because the employee's evaluation has not been completed.
Right.
Not because of the people that were in the crowd that was here, as was stated in Facebook. That was a false statement.
I don't have Facebook, so I don't know. Okay. Okay. Are we in compliance with our open meeting law?
Yes.
Okay. Public comment. Do you have any public comment? Okay. Consent agenda.
I'd move for approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Items for discussion, possible action. Approve or deny Boxcar Museum's board's request for $3,500 from the room tax to extend the deck from the boxcar to the caboose. And it was approved it was approved with the room tax board on September 21st.
Okay, I got a question on that. I see that there's a lot of work that's been done on that. Who's paid for that? What are we paying for? Is this already been paid for and the work mostly done?
We've got somebody here that can answer that question. We probably need you to come up so we can hear you on the mic there.
The room tax board, or the museum board,
Could you do me a favor and state your name?
Bonnie Smith, I'm the secretary for the museum board, and we made the decision to approve him going ahead and starting on the work. We have some money in our fund, and if you approve, then we will just reimburse what we've extended. We had asked for 35, and the total estimate was 39, but we have, or 37. Do you remember, Susan? 37.50. But David Cottrell raised $419 for us, so we're putting that towards it too. So that would give us 39 to do the project. So we wanted Cliff to get started before the weather gets bad.
And Cliff Jensen's doing the
Cliff Jensen's
construction.
doing the work.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'll make a motion that we approve Boxcar Museum's request for $3,500 from room tax to extend the deck.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to approve the $3,500 from the room tax to give to the Boxcar Museum. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Update concerning ongoing grants administration, depot grant.
Did you mean to skip 4B?
Did I pass? Oh, excuse me. Well, I've been looking at him all night and talking to him about it. All right, item B, approve and deny VFW Post 7114's request to install a Blue Star Memorial Highway marker on the south side of the Highway 93 across from, they had put down for the dollar store, but I think they want to change that request to put it by the flagpole up in the middle of town. I think that would be more appropriate for myself, for the type of marker that we want to put by the flags.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, after talking, I think the best place to put that sign would be right in front of the flag. Initially, I wanted to put it down at the south side of the city, but when you're coming into the city, you only see it one way.
Yeah. Thank you. And if you would state your name for me, that would be excellent.
You only see it one way, whereas we put it by the flag, coming in both sides of the city, you can see it. Now, the Blue Star Memorial Highway are highways in the United States that are marked to pay tribute to the U.S. Armed Forces. The National Council of State Garden Clubs, now known as National Garden Club, Inc., started the program in 1945 after World War II. The Blue Star was used on service flags to denote a service member fighting in the war. The program has since been expanded to include memorial markers and memorial byways since 1994. These markers are used in national cemeteries, parks, veteran cemeteries, and gardens. The VFW Post here in Caliani has been given this award, and instead of us putting it at the veteran cemetery or the VFW, I think it'd be more appropriate where everybody sees it on Highway 93.
What is the dimensions of it? How big?
I don't have the dimensions, but you see the pictures, I would say it's probably about 2 by 4.
I sure support it, and we thank you for your service. My only concern is would it be block the side of traffic there at that area?
I think that's a pretty good size area right
Yeah.
there. I think we could put it on the far side from the road. I think it would be, I don't think it would obstruct the
There's no
vision.
expense to the VFW, no expense to the city, except I need Grant's team to install it on city property.
I would move for approval.
I'll second the motion. I think it's a great idea.
Got a motion and a second to approve this setting up the Blue Star Memorial at the flagpole in the middle of town up here. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And one more thing, I haven't received a sign because of the
Aye.
truckers' problems and such. They're saying maybe the first week or second week of next month. We're hoping to get it installed before Veterans Day. And before I go, I'm gonna leave you this flyer on the next agenda. I'm gonna bring up Wreath Across America. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but during the holidays, we put wreaths on every veteran's grave. And I'll be soliciting money from the hotel tax fund to help us pay for it. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Motion carries on the putting this in. Grant?
I was just gonna say with the Reach Across America, that's what the DC trip usually does in Washington
already have the kids on board. They said they're gonna take some money to help donate the flag. I'm ordering over 300 flags at $15 each. We'll put all the information in the newspaper, and, like I said, on the next meeting, I'll give you all the facts and figures. We have over 252 veterans in the city cemetery and the veterans cemetery. And all except for Jamin, all these names are in the veterans cemetery. The Rouse, the Berries, the Simmons.
Okay. Update concerning ongoing grants administration, CDBG Depot Grant.
So we've got our quarterly report in for the CDBG grant. We've also got Charlie Donahue from the Nevada Division of State Lands, who's going to be coming on November 2nd at 2:30 p.m. They are the ones that have given us the $2 million grant for other projects around the depot. And he wants a tour, and then he wants to know what the plans are. I spoke with Linda today, and she's working on getting those plans together for him. We've also formed a depot restoration committee. I don't know if you want to know all the members on the committee, but.
It wouldn't hurt if you
Okay.
got them there.
Okay, so the Depot Restoration Committee is comprised of Lynn Wood, Bill Brown, John Ellis, Nolan Avery, Mary Love, Kevin Roberts, and Rick Phillips. Other than that, I don't really have any other updates on the CDBG or grants.
Okay, we have any questions on that? Okay. City clerk's report.
So this last couple of weeks, I finished going through all the reconciliations. I know last time I reported, I was up through August. So those have been completed to date, which is great. Now we're moving forward with audit adjustments that have been suggested from Dan MacArthur's office. I've had a few meetings up at the courthouse with Sean, the treasurer, getting some room tax things figured out. And we have adjusted, I guess I went through the open meeting law statute and made some adjustments. You'll notice, well, I'm not sure what I printed out here, but on the agenda that was posted, I updated it to show a place for us to date and time each posting, which I believe is in accordance with the statute, trying to make sure we're complying fully with the open meeting law statute. As far as agenda requests go, we wanted to just publicly note that going forward, we're going to require that those agenda requests be in 8 days prior to the public meeting, whether it's planning commission or city council, because we want to make sure we have time to get everything out, approved by the council and our attorney, and then posted on time. And doing that day of before 9 a.m. has become more of a cumbersome task than maybe it was in the past, because I updated our form and we have to write everything out on there in the morning. So 8 days prior, which would basically mean if our meeting's on a Thursday night, all agenda requests need to be in by Wednesday in order for me to get that out a week in advance to everybody.
And we're talking about business days.
No.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Business days.
No, calendar days. Calendar days. We're working on quarterly reporting. We've got UEC quarterly report, a QES quarterly report, a regular state and federal quarterly reporting. And that's pretty much sums up where we're at.
Okay, do we have any questions for our city clerk?
I guess I will note, I know that you mentioned the wreaths across America being on the next agenda due to our new timeline. I believe that room board meeting is on the 27th. So I will make sure that I find out from them that day and get that on the agenda. That'll be probably our one exception to this rule.
You mean to come down and fill out the paperwork again?
No, if they approve it at the planning commission, I'll just move it over. We had that discussion before as well. Thank you.
That was gonna be my question, so. Outside of that, though, no exceptions really, just.
Well, they'll have to adjust their meeting time to meet this new deal so that we're legal with our
Yeah.
postings, so, yeah. All right, Public Works Manager report, Mr. Perkins.
Got a call today from Jeff Fontaine about the shared use path that is gonna go from the depot out to Churchill Landscape Park. That's what
Can't hear him.
the area we put out to bid. He gave me a bunch of information on it. The one concern that involves us is they are going to chip and seal Clover Street from the depot to 317 for us. They're gonna restripe it. They wanna change the striping down there near the intersection because as you come into town from 317, it is a passing zone and they don't feel like it should be. I agree with them, and I wanna just make sure there's no objections here before I give them approval on that. There's no objections, I'll just tell him, we agree with their striping plan and we'll go with it.
While you're working on that, will you make a request that the area between 93 and where 317 turns off, the speed limit be changed to 25? It's set at 40 there, and you can't make that curve down there at 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, the speed limit is 40 and I believe they have an advisory sign to slow down for the curve, but
We want the whole thing 25 if you can get it. That's because there's gonna be pedestrians crossing there and bicyclists crossing there.
and we started on that once, and when the shared youth path kind of got put on hold, so did that. So I will bring it back up and it shouldn't be hard to make happen.
Thank you.
I noticed they had NDOT down there working on some power. Are they gonna put a signal or something there at a crossing there? You know?
I don't know, but, it wouldn't surprise me. If I remember right, there was gonna be flashing lights and a crosswalk, like
Okay.
amber lights in the plans, but I can't guarantee that. So that would make sense that they probably got power from Lincoln County Power District to do it.
Well, NDOT was down there, yesterday. Yesterday, most all day. So I assumed that that's what they were doing because I see them working on the power on the bridge there, so.
Maybe they'll,
On 317,
Yes,
okay.
they'll put some lights in out here.
maybe.
I think there is a plan for streetlights and the ambers at the crosswalk. I believe that's correct.
And what did you say on the bids on that?
They're having one final meeting to straighten everything out, get it all set to put it out to bid. It's not gone out to bid yet.
No, but it's supposed to go out on the 8th of November. Unless they've changed that date.
I think the last meeting is the 8th of November to solidify everything that they're putting out to bid.
Probably
Is-
get the bid all together.
What's
So
that?
Get the bid together so they
Yes.
can put it out.
Yes. They have, I believe, representatives from Lincoln County on it, from our Rural Development Committee, right? They're gonna be at that meeting and take care of some stuff, just to finalize a few issues before they put it out to bid. And I believe that's the 8th, and then after they have that meeting, they put it out to bid sometime after that.
Okay.
Was my understanding. But that was a phone conversation today. Then going into the rest of my report, Lincoln County Power District has been in town and they installed a new 3-phase service for Steve Coverwell down by the transfer station, so he can install a well there for his agricultural use. They also did some line locating for us when we were doing a project in the alley behind the Catholic Church Hall. And with that said, we replaced their connection, their lateral connection right at the main. There was a bunch of root intrusion in it. and it was getting through old fittings. And so we cut a section out of the main, replaced it, and their lateral service into it. So we shouldn't have that problem again for a lot of years, we hope. We also did line locating for the power district, sewer line locating for the power district when they were getting ready to do the install down there at Steve Coverwell's. We have our sewer mains run through his property there on the way to the sewer plant. And another question for you guys, we've had a lot of commercial water use lately. We charge 1/4 cent per gallon of water when we sell it commercially, which is a higher rate than any of our customers pay. But I would still like to charge a service fee, and I don't know, part of this was for Franklin, I don't know how we go about doing that. Can we change our fee schedule? Does it have to be done by ordinance? This is just simply for selling commercial water, for people that want to fill water trucks, things like that.
We can just do it by resolution.
We could do it by resolution.
But we just did a rate increase for trash a
Yeah.
couple months ago, so it'll be the same process.
And the reason I want to do this is because a lot of times my guys have to go hang a meter on a hydrant, and then they have to go pull it, or they have to go, the fill station across from the fire station, they have to go turn that on, read the meter, do things, and it's more work and time for us. And I would just like to put a $25 or $50 service charge on top of selling commercial water. So if you guys are good with that, I will get that on the agenda here for the next meeting, and we'll look at doing that. Parks, we've started winterizing parks and blowing out the irrigation systems. The park guys are done for the season. We may use them occasionally to come back and do some weeds for us, or not weeds, leaves for us as they start to fall. We've had one opening in the VFW cemetery in the last little while. And in the industrial park in the last 2 weeks, we spent 36 man-hours in the industrial park. We moved the concrete steps that were in front of the caboose where that walkway is now. We moved them around to the other side, and we moved the caboose a little bit so they could make a straight shot with their path over there rather than having to angle their walkway. We had one of our trucks has a problem starting. A spot on the flywheel, the teeth are missing, and so every once in a while it just won't start, and you have to get under there with a wrench and turn it. We sent it to Cedar City to have a new flywheel and starter put on it. We did the cleanup and got everything ready for the bonfire. I believe it went well. My kids enjoyed it. I didn't hear any other complaints or any problems with it. Out at the burn pile, we did that. And the last thing I have is somebody here a while back, not a while back, last little while, 2 weeks ago, cut the fence in the back of our shop yard and got in and stole a bunch of copper wire. And I've reported that at the sheriff's office. They do believe they have a suspect now, and they're working that we have fixed the fence, but there is a lot of that going on. We heard today that they'd stole, I heard like $12,000 worth of stuff somewhere else. They wouldn't tell me where, but they believe the same person that stole our copper wire stole a bunch of other stuff somewhere else. So kind of having a problem with that right now, with those things going on, and that's my report.
What was the value of the stuff taken from our shop?
I don't have a number on that yet today. Me and Chase talked about it, and I've got to get that to him. I know just the one wire that I know of is about $12 a foot, and we had about 40 feet stolen, so $480 just of the one cable we had stolen.
Okay,
I noticed today when I coming up the street, that Phil hydrant across from the fire station down there is leaking.
It is leaking?
Yeah.
Okay.
know
We've got
what-
somebody using it right now,
Okay, I just,
so,
maybe they didn't shut it off tight or something.
yep,
Anyway.
I'll check on that.
Any other questions for Mr. Perkins? Okay, discussion of legal issues, Mr. Katsky.
We had a planning commission meeting yesterday, that's what it's called. And there's some discussion first regarding amending our litter ordinance. And so I'll be working with Councilman Rao and a couple members of the planning commission to start working on that. Again, that'll be a whole process once it gets back up here. We have to do certain notifications, but they wanted to take a look at that Because the process right now, and I'll be honest, it's a little cumbersome to get notices out. So we'll be working on that for the next couple weeks. There's also some discussion, the Planning Commission, and I've talked to this with them about them a couple times, is, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but they, especially enforcement of litter, I guess, it's not really a planning issue or a zoning issue. It's kind of a enforcement issue, I guess, and part of that is because the city doesn't really have an enforcement arm when it comes to stuff like that. So the Planning Commission has kind of been acting as the enforcement mechanism of the city at this point. And so we're gonna look, well, I'm gonna do some researching on the statutes and the enacting ordinance of the Planning Commission and probably insert something in there to expand kind of, not necessarily their power, but of what the Planning Commission discusses and what they can do. That way, I think it alleviates that burden off of this council. And again, the Planning Commission reports to this board and they can ratify or deny the decisions they make there. But we'll be doing that research and probably coming up with an amendment to a resolution or an ordinance at that point as well. I think that's probably it at this point. Was there anything else? I don't think there's anything else from my side, but just be prepared for some ordinance amendments coming up in the next couple of months regarding especially litter and refuse and weeds and things like that.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Katsky? All right, building inspector's report. Mr. Dixon.
Excuse me. I don't have a whole lot. We do have some good news on the apartments. FEMA has approved both of the apartment buildings to be out of the flood zone. A letter of map amendment has been approved by them. The ownership has not changed hands yet. It's in the process. Nevada Housing Authority is working on that, and as soon as they come up with funding, then the new owners will take possession and we'll get started moving forward with that. The way that the state operates is almost as bad as the federal government. So I personally don't think anything's going to happen on it until January or February. There won't be any construction taking place. I've got all the plans. I've went through them. I'm happy with everything, except when they give me the money, I'll give them a permit. So that's where we're at with that. I had a conversation with Nolan Avery on the Shady. He was supposed to add his air conditioning unit the 14th of this month. Well, guess what? He still doesn't have it. So right now he's kind of shifted his plans. They tell him that the air conditioning unit is on the way. When we get that installed, and right now his plan is that he will open up on the first of the year with the new portion of the business and change everything over to it. If the air conditioning shows up. Otherwise, he'll be using space heaters or whatever over there, so. And that's all I've got.
Any questions for Mr. Dixon? Okay. Discussion of issues related to public safety. Fire chief. Is that you online, George?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't have anything to report except the BLM did donate us 20 handheld radios last week. So we're grateful to them for that. But other than that, I don't have anything else.
Okay, any questions for George? Okay, thank you, George. Discussion of council members' responsibilities, Parks Beautification Committee, Mr. Fitzsimons.
All right, everybody hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, we last met 2 nights ago, October 19th. Discussed the ongoing scarecrows, as we mentioned, or I mentioned last meeting. Dave Corndog Martin was generous enough to donate the large scarecrow on the flagpole. I don't know if anyone's seen that. Some people said they drove by and didn't even notice it. Thank for Grant for helping that as well. Christmas plans, there's coming along. We're going to have the annual Christmas thing December 4th. That'll be outside in front of the depot. So those plans are going. And we talked a couple months ago, and I've talked to Grant about some more doggy bag stations there on Highway 93 on the walking path. And Grant did his due diligence, and he looked some of these stations up online for us. I think, Grant, you can correct me if I'm wrong, was about $254 or something like that. Anyway, they're simple, they're green, they've got a trash receptacle, they've got a sign, pick up after your dog. We feel that beautification is, it's one thing that we could help with, as opposed to when Grant emailed me and Councilman Rao, planning and zoning, that's one thing, but I know planning had mentioned something about having one out at the super park, but we're willing to look into that. I was going to ask the council or even Mr. Katchke if that's something that helps beautify the community. Could that be purchased with the ARP funds? I'm not sure of that. The ladies of the beautification were wondering that.
Sorry, what funds were that?
The ARP, the America Recovery Act funds.
I'd have to, yeah, I'll take a look into that.
Okay, so we're willing to, like I said, and Grant will probably agree with you, we're looking to purchase some of these, and Grant, in your opinion, they don't take much to assemble or even put up, correct?
No, they're not that difficult. Just be able to find a place where we can drill the hole and put concrete around the post to anchor it to. My big concern is I want to make sure we know how many we want, where we're going to have them, so I don't know who's in on that plan.
Yeah, copy that. It's just, like I said, it's just kind of in the beginning stages of getting those. So other than that, we don't have anything else. Don't have a whole lot. Next meeting for us will be Tuesday, November 16th. And they've also talked about talking to Craig or City Hall of getting an insert for the utility bills about our annual fundraiser on purchasing the Christmas greetings signs that go in front of all the trees on the walking path there on Highway 93. So if they haven't talked to you yet, Craig, they will.
I haven't heard anything, but I look forward to it.
I'm sure you do. That's all I have, and hoping I don't have COVID. Thank you.
Okay, I hope your family recovers well.
Any questions for
Thank
Sean? Okay. Community development and planning, Councilman Rao.
Okay, today we had scheduled a Regional Transportation Committee meeting. It was canceled because they didn't have a quorum. Have you ever been involved in any of them meetings, Grant?
I'm not, but I did get that email and I was planning on zooming in. I listened to the last one, zoomed in on it, and kind of planning on doing the same thing and pay attention to what's going on there and see if I can
Okay.
get a grasp of it.
And you do receive the agendas?
Yes. I just started when you guys had the last meeting in
Okay.
September or August. Yeah.
Okay, anyway, I was wondering, because Pioche has in for a grant and Panaca has in for a grant and to use some of this transportation money, which is gas money, for gas tax money from the state.
Roads.
And Alamo had a request in and Caliani didn't. So I didn't know if you was familiar with it.
I seen some stuff last time. I'll get with you after the meeting and ask you some more questions and see if I'm understanding it right.
Okay, you did read the agenda though, where they were requesting what for, okay. Anyway, that meeting was canceled for today. On Monday, the Lincoln County Regional Development met and on that meeting, they discussed and they give an update on the locating the new state 4-H camp in Lincoln County. This was Monday. On Tuesday, they had a tour of all the spots that were to be available. Some was down the canyon, some was in Pioche area, some was in the Panaca area around the county fair grounds, and there was one other place. I can't recall where it was. Anyway, they were making a tour and they would make a decision after that. The state officials on 4-H were here to take this tour. Last night we had a planning commission meeting, and on that, as Mr. Caskey stated, that him and I are put on a committee to review the ordinance 138. And we will do that, as he said, in the next couple of weeks. Battleborn butcher blocks. He mentioned the preparation of the ground and how much time they spent on there this week. Hope it's getting close to being finished. Jim Bourne, the owner of it, I guess you've heard about his misfortune. He had a hernia operation and didn't follow the doctor's orders and tore it back open again. So we had to go in and have it redone. And the second time is usually not fun. Also at the Planning Commission meeting, our grant provided us with a report on street lights, weeds, and street signs that all of the members got. I went and looked at all of these sites. Some of them were exceptionally well, like the alley behind, the alleyway between Lincoln and Holt Avenue. That was a super job on that. And some of them, I wouldn't have paid anybody for the results of that job, like at the end of Rowan Drive down here. It's still a mess. Where they used equipment, they had still got piles of dirt there where all the weeds were piled up in it.
I'm aware of that.
It didn't look like it was complete. And you mentioned the street signs have been ordered that we need to replace. I don't know if you mentioned that tonight, but in the Planning Commission, it was on the report that you give. And all the street lights have been fixed, except the two in this middle of Rose Park. I think that was mentioned at our last meeting because of the soft ground and getting their bucket truck in there this time of year. And they've started a new list of street lights. So if anybody has a street light in their neighborhood that needs repair, if you can call in, give it to the city clerks, we can get it, put it on our list to give to the power district.
Do we want them to reach out to you directly for that? If they call us, I don't know what good we're gonna do with it, but.
Yeah, if you get something, if you can just get the best detail you can and then email it to me, I'll put it on my list. And my plan is at the end of each month, I'll forward that list to the power district.
Okay, I think that's all. I don't think I've got anything else listed here. Is there any questions?
I got, I guess, one comment on that, on the weed situation. We ran into a little hiccup with getting some guys, so that should be something we can get back going again next week, hopefully.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Tourism Boxcar Museum, Mr. LaVerry.
So on the room tax fund, we'll meet on the 27th, next Wednesday, to go over, I believe it's for the Reese of America. So we should be able to get that done. And then Tuesday at 1, the 26th, is the Boxcar Museum meeting. And I'll go down to that. And that should be the last, maybe not the last one, but before they shut down, so. By the next meeting, at least get you a good detail on what the project's doing and any needs they need for the winter time. That's it. Oh. Oh, the second? Okay, I misheard you then, okay. Sorry, November 2nd at 1. I don't know why I got next Tuesday. Yeah. But should be able to get you a good report for the following meeting on the 4th.
Any questions for Joe? Okay, Public Utilities, Mr. Hunter, and he's not here tonight, so. I think our Mr. Perkins gave that pretty much report anyway. Okay, I don't have too much to report on. I just gave most everything that's going on in the city hall here. We had a meeting here the other night with, it was a virtual meeting with the county treasurer. And they went over a lot of this, what this money the state had that would, that we could apply for on this, what is it, this stimulation money?
Yeah, it's the same funds that are kind of, they have some state funds appropriated to the state that they get to decide.
I know a lot of that money can be used like for the hospital. They're talking about building a new hospital and stuff out there. They got a ton of money. They just need to, we need to start putting in for that stuff. Anyway, I don't have much more than that to report on. We'll go to public comment. Do we have any public comment? Yes, sir.
My name's Eric Medlin. I own 3 properties here in Caliente, and I received one of those violation letters.
Why don't we hold on just a second? We get these doors closed so we can hear you. All right, I think we can hear you now.
Okay, I got a letter for violation of ordinance 138, the weeds and, whatever it says. The letter I received didn't state which property it was. I own 3 and have 1 in escrow. It didn't tell me what the violation was or the accused violation was. So I didn't know which property to go address. I didn't know how to address it. After reading the ordinance, the way that it reads is pretty intense. You can get fined up to $1,000 and get a misdemeanor every single day. And the city's not gonna tell you which property. You have to kind of hunt around to figure out how to get in compliance with that. That could ruin somebody's life. I've already helped one church clean up their property so the city doesn't take their property. I know you're not on Facebook, but a lot of people are talking about this, and seems like a cash grab and a property grab by the city. I'm currently investing in 3, like I said, 3 properties here, another one in escrow, and 1 in Pioche. And I've already changed my mind on which property to start on first, to Pioche, just because of the nature of the environment here in Caliente. It doesn't seem friendly to new people. It doesn't seem friendly to property owners or people starting businesses. All of these properties I have plans to develop. The timelines of this, which are a little vague, makes it almost impossible. It's hard to get stuff done here. I own part of the only landscape company that's registered here, and I'm having trouble keeping my equipment going and getting my properties done. So if you don't have access to the equipment and finances that I do, I couldn't imagine getting one of these letters and staring down $1,000 a day fine. So when you're planning to change this ordinance, it should read more like you want the community to be nice and for people to come here and invest money, because I will invest money here, but I've already shifted. I've got to make sure that where I'm putting my money, it's not gonna be trying to taken by the city. And a lot of people are talking about this online, and I think it's a pretty important issue. I hope that the city does the right thing and addresses this, rewrites this ordinance. I want my city to be nice. I want my place where I live to be nice, and I'll help out where I can. But please know that this is causing harm to people. Just getting these letters is stressful. And if you don't have the means, it could be even more stressful. So I do hope the city changes this ordinance. It's old, it's outdated. In my opinion, unconstitutional the way that's being enforced. So I look forward to seeing the changes to this ordinance.
I'm not sure if you did, but would you state your name? Just
Eric Medlin,
say it again.
Medlin, M-E-D-L-I-N.
Thank you.
Appreciate your comment. Do we have any other public comment? Okay. Need to schedule date, review of the agenda for topics for next meeting. And that's the only thing we've got really out of this meeting would be the, we'll wait on this one.
Yeah, I've got the variance agreement and then the, probably the water service charge, and then the wreaths.
Okay. I imagine the wreaths across America will be there. We can put it on there, schedule it. That way it'll be on, and if that meeting isn't in time to approve, we can always take it off.
And just to note, that meeting is the 4th of November, 6 PM.
Okay. All right.
27th,
Say that again.
not on the 27th.
The 27th is next Wednesday.
Oh, you're talking the council, Matt,
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about, okay.
Okay. Nothing else? Adjourn this meeting.
There's 4 people watching tonight.